right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Noisy night. Spring storms for parts of the area still rumbling right now. Why this unsettled pattern isn't coming to an end anytime soon.
Tonight, another college campus. Another protest for Palestine. Hundreds descend on St. Louis University.
From the sea to the river.
As those in the Jewish community remain alarmed by the message.
Calling for violence is not a peaceful protest.
More on tonight's protest in a moment. First, we have some storms rolling through south and east of St. Louis right now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. Some of those storms are strong but not severe. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is tracking it all in his Weather First forecast.
Yeah, and you know those storms are weakening as expected, probably about an hour behind schedule on that weakening trend, but it is a downward trend. They're not nearly as strong as they were an hour or two ago when they were south and southwest of St. Louis. Still some 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts as they rolled through, and certainly the heavy rainfall as well. Upwards of a half an inch to an inch if you were under the heaviest part of these storms. While the back edge is rolling through, we're still looking at some rumbles of thunder here over towards St. Jacob, approaching Highland and into St. Rose, Illinois, and then back down through southern portions of St. Clair County, western Washington County. That trek from Nashville back to Freeburg is on a wet road tonight, and it's waterlogged down towards Waterloo too. You likely had close to an inch of rain there. Over the last couple of hours, this is how it evolved. The storms now showing a definite sign of weakening, and they'll be gone in the next couple of hours. The heaviest storms today, 1.5 to 1 inch of rain. Most areas that saw some rain out of these thunderstorms didn't get those higher amounts. Widespread showers, though, will return Thursday night with a limited severe wind and hail risk tomorrow evening. We'll talk more about that, but your morning commute should be A-OK tomorrow morning, Mike.
And remember, you can get the latest Weather First forecast anytime on KSDK.com and on the 5 on your side app. You can also text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send it straight to your phone.
From the sea to the river.
A loud and large demonstration in the heart of Midtown wrapped up just about 90 minutes ago. Unlike what we saw over the weekend at Washington University, there were no arrests reported on the campus of St. Louis University tonight.
While there were no reports of physical violence and unrest at tonight's march and rally, there were anti-Semitic chants. We have live team coverage tonight of both sides of this growing conflict. We start with Robert Townsend, who talked with some of the hundreds of protesters.
Kelly, for more than 2 hours, the protesters marched and demonstrated right on the SLU campus. Again, their messages were definitely loud and clear. It was a non-violent pro-Palestinian protest that initially attracted about 24 people. But in just 30 minutes, a sea of St. Louis University students packed the steps and the grounds by the SLU clock tower.
This is community. This is what solidarity looks like.
As a Muslim woman, it is essential for me to show support from my brothers and sisters because my brothers and sisters has been under the war, under occupation for the past 75 years.
Hundreds of anti-war protesters held Palestinian flags, signs,
Palestine will be free.
And chanted against the October 7th Hamas attack on southern Israel that killed at least 1,200 people. Alam Jaber is a PhD SLU student.
I believe in the liberation of Palestine. I believe in the liberation from occupation all across the world. It is of utmost importance, and that's why I'm here.
The group Occupy SLU Coalition organized the event that also attracted dozens of parents, their children, and St. Louisans like Michael Berg.
It's just a horror that doesn't have to happen.
And as we come across this part of the university's campus, you can hear these people, they're shouting, "Ceasefire now, ceasefire now." Again, as they continue to walk across the campus, the crowd continues to grow. They trekked to a popular fountain area near Grand and Lindell, down the street from the Fox Theater. Minutes later, the protesters marched back to the middle of campus where they sat in a circle, blocked traffic, and kept spreading their messages.
Silence is violence.
As armed officers from SLU's Department of Public Safety kept an eye out.
we need to come together and say we don't want this to continue.
Again, amid all that protesting, we did not see any problems or arrests. Live in Midtown, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Protests continue to impact college campuses across the country, and not all are peaceful. Overnight, police broke up violent confrontations at UCLA between pro-Palestinian and counter-protesters.
And just a few hours before that, Columbia University called in the NYPD to arrest protesters who overtook a campus building. According to CNN, more than 1,500 protesters have been arrested across the country. Those arrests happening on nearly 30 campuses spanning across at least 23 states. Many other schools, like St. Louis University tonight, have experienced protests without arrests.
On top of these protests, anti-Semitic incidents are on the rise. Laura Barczewski continues our live team coverage from SLU tonight, and she talked with members of the Jewish community who say all of this combined is unsettling.
Mike and Kelly, the students I talked with say it's really hard to just be Jewish right now. And one SLU student I talked to said he avoided campus altogether today because he was concerned.
Wednesday night, pro-Palestinian protesters filled the center of St. Louis University's campus. Signs and chants saying "From the river to the sea" could be heard throughout the crowd.
The U.S. House has recently declared the chant "From the river to the sea" as hate speech, as it calls for the destruction of Israel.
But people are at odds with what the phrases and words mean. Jordan Kadosh with the Anti-Defamation League says sayings like this one and calls for intifada are seen as calls for violence and direct attacks on the Jewish community.
I mean, they'd be calling for it to happen overseas, but the fact that people were calling for it here in our community, that's just, that's out of line. And if we're going to talk about what's appropriate and what isn't, and what's a peaceful protest and what isn't, calling for violence is not a peaceful protest.
Rabbi Jeffrey Abraham says he has people from both WashU and SLU in his congregation at B'nai Amunah and says it's been very difficult for them.
The last few days, I spoke about it from the pulpit and made sure to really talk about how important it is that we stand up against the hatred that we see around us, and we have to use our voices and allow them to be heard.
Daniel Greenspan is a grad student at SLU and proudly wears a yarmulke. He said he's had a tough time this year and actually avoided campus during the protests because he was worried about what might happen.
Twice last semester, somebody came to me in the library, made a beeline to me, threw pennies at me, and left. I have no reason to believe that they didn't have some sort of chat where they told somebody, hey, it's your turn to throw something at the Jew.
Kadosh says anti-Semitism is on the rise at an alarming rate. In Missouri, incidents have more than quadrupled.
Those incidents, they've been growing for a while. This is not new. It's just a spike on top of a growing wave. And it's really, it's disheartening. People feel like they're under siege.
Both the rabbis we spoke with tonight say their doors are open to anyone who needs support. Reporting live in Midtown, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
And our coverage of the college campus demonstrations continues now on KSDK.com. Text the word protest to 314-425-5355 and we will send you a link.
We are learning more tonight about a school tragedy averted in Wisconsin. Police shot and killed an armed student today outside a middle school in Madison. Authorities say he never got inside the school. His age and identity have not been released. No one else was hurt. Here in St. Louis tonight, students are on a mission to combat gun violence by fighting for tougher laws.
A group of teens from Confluence Academies are just back from Jefferson City, where they made their case to state lawmakers. And Brent Solomon caught up with them once they returned.
You know, this is something that they wanted. School leaders made it happen, and it led to some real-life lessons that sometimes have to be learned outside of the school grounds.
Being a voice for change is sometimes prompted by your own reality.
A lot of my life is surrounded by, oh, I heard a gunshot. Maybe I should get down. Maybe I should turn the lights off. And it shouldn't be like that.
It's why this St. Louis 10th grader joined 9 of her classmates in taking a trip to the state capitol last Tuesday.
Kids walking around with guns, stuff like that, because it's really not safe.
They want tougher gun laws to crack down on violence. To prepare for the big moment, they practiced how to make an elevator pitch.
Because they have so little time to actually talk to people, you want to get straight to the point. Hi, my name is, this is what I'm here for, this is what I care about.
Take a look at these meaningful conversations that led to lessons learned outside of the classroom.
I got an understanding that it's two sides to it. It's not just like, oh, this gun violence is everywhere. So when they're trying to pass these laws, you got to we got to find some balance between them.
Senator Stephen Roberts invited them into the Senate chamber.
It was really eye-opening for me just to see how well-informed they were and passionate about the same issues that I've been fighting for here in the state legislature.
And although there doesn't appear to be a compromise this session on the laws they want to see, these teens have a plea to state lawmakers as they look ahead.
Actually come out to the communities that's being affected by gun violence and see what we mean when we say this is an issue.
The visit to the Capitol was the latest in a series of gun safety initiatives Confluence Academies have engaged students in. It's part of a partnership with St. Louis Public Schools.
Just hours ago, a fundraiser wrapped up at a McDonald's in North County for a young worker brutally attacked outside the restaurant. 15-year-old Aurea Lynch is about to undergo a second surgery for a broken nose. She's also suffering head pain since last month's attack at the McDonald's on Parker Road. Police say video shows 25-year-old Johnny Ricks, an upset customer, grabbing the teen by her hair and stomping on her head.
We're just trying to show love and give back to her. Just the video that we saw, it was a lot to look at, especially with someone who's a sweetheart like Aurea is.
Ricks is still in jail facing first-degree assault charges. A portion of today's sales will go towards the teen's recovery. No word on how much money was raised.
Fire on a Missouri interstate. The cargo of fire water that fueled the flames.
Well, you may have heard that food is medicine, and now a new program is really driving that home. I'm Michelle Lee with details on a new program that will get life-saving medication and fresh food delivered straight to you.
Mother Nature has been delivering a warm and damp spring so far. That's not changing as we start the month of May. We're tracking the timing of weekend thunderstorm chances in just 7 minutes.
New video tonight of a massive truck fire on Interstate 70 fueled by a cargo load of whiskey. The fire broke out early this morning on the Missouri River Bridge west of Columbia. Firefighters say the fire started in the cab and spread to the trailer. It took about 40,000 gallons of water to put it out. All of the alcohol was consumed by the fire and did not leak into the river. The driver got out unharmed. The fire remains under investigation. A new community grant from BJC is already making a positive difference in how older adults tackle their health.
It's also helping them make ends meet. Tonight, consumer anchor Michelle Lee shows us how it's bringing medicine and food together.
Greater Health Pharmacy is making a huge difference for those living in pharmacy deserts. And now this new program is helping people not only get their prescriptions, but also fresh food delivered straight to their doors.
There's something different about Greater RX, a pharmacy that touts itself on being inclusive, from who it serves to how it serves.
Understanding that around 50,000 people live in pharmacy deserts, we wanted to create a robust delivery system that is able to reach a lot of our residents in the St. Louis area.
So it was a no-brainer that a pharmacy that delivers might also drop off food as medicine.
And we're able to distribute it to a lot of our patients who are experiencing hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes.
We pack the bags with nutrient-dense foods. Our nutrition specialists collaborate with the pharmacists from Greater Health to discuss what is good for those with chronic health conditions to help them manage their symptoms.
Operation Food Search comes up with a specific food box each month to coincide with monthly medication deliveries. It's an innovative yet common sense approach to solving a shared problem across communities.
These patients are across lines of difference, whether it's across race, it's across gender, it's across sexual orientation, it's across country of origin.
The pilot program is reaching people who've fallen through the cracks.
We talk a lot about the last mile and how difficult it can be for food insecure individuals who don't have transportation or the resources to get a bus to a food outlet to get the food resources they need.
So when people are getting these free items, some of our patients cry, they jump in excitement because they've never experienced a healthcare provider that actually cares about the holistic journey for their health. And so we care not only to give them medication, but we want them to lead a more healthy lifestyle.
And the best part, it's all free. It's about changing lives and helping people beyond making ends meet.
If you'd like to learn more information, the pharmacy is the place to call, and it does require you to have your prescriptions here. For Making Ends Meet, Michelle Lee, 5 on your side.
Tonight, an animal shelter in the Metro East is making a desperate plea to you. Gateway Pet Guardians in East St. Louis is bursting at the seams with animals. Today, the shelter announced a rescue freeze because they don't have enough space to house any additional animals. Shelter officials say in the last day, they have experienced a high number of pets left by their owners outside their facility, some in crates, some with notes, and others tied to their fence. And they're asking people to adopt or foster. Gateway Pets is holding walk-in foster and adoption hours tomorrow through Saturday. And fostering a pet is free. Tonight, there's a national push to empty the shelters from now until May 15th. The Bissell Pet Foundation is offering discounted adoptions under $50. Missouri shelters participating include CARE STL, the APA, the Humane Society of Franklin County. And over in the Metro East, you can go to Helping Strays of Monroe County, the St. Clair County Animal Adoption Center, and Partners for Pets in Troy.
The wheels are now in motion on the next phase of the Brickline Greenway. Today, Harris Stowe State University launched construction of the trail from the school to City Park. By 2030, the trails will span west to east from Forest Park to the Arch and north to south from Fairground Park to Tower Grove Park.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell's back again with the weather first forecast. And what can we expect in the upcoming days, Scott?
Well, you know, more of the same. This off and on rain pattern is going to stick with us. I just got some numbers in looking at the maps and looking at some of the weather stations around the area. Cahokia Heights with just over an inch of rain out of this. Sullivan, Missouri, picking up almost an inch of rain. Steelville had 6/10. That's along the Merrimack. So southwest of St. Louis, you'll see another little blip there as the water all drains off. Fortunately, it wasn't widespread through the entire area, but we did get some pretty good downpours across the region as these showers and thunderstorms move through. Now you're getting some more rain into Highland and stretching out Interstate 70 over towards Pocahontas, but we've lost most of the lightning with this now. Maybe a couple more rumbles of thunder, but the intensity's really come down quite a bit. That's a look at Highland right now. We go into St. Clair County over here towards Oakville in Washington County, right along the Kaskaskia River. We're seeing some more rain, but again, not as heavy as it was. This whole area is starting to diminish. In fact, where did this come from? This is actually spawned by part of a disturbance that Anthony was telling you about early this morning down in Oklahoma, and it came across Arkansas and regenerated some thunderstorms. Look at that shelf cloud roll into Arnold this evening, even a few flashes of lightning before the downpours arrived. That was our weather camera time lapse as those storms were moving in this evening. Again, they're on the way down and on the way out. 68 right now, no measurable rain at Lambert, so in the official rain gauge, it'll be a trace for today. 79 ends up being our high. It was closer to 80 in areas where there was a little more sunshine this afternoon. We're dropping back into the 60s overnight. Those spot showers and thunderstorms coming to an end. Most of tomorrow's on the dry side. If you're working outside, shouldn't have any big problems during the day. We'll be tracking the next round, though, of showers and thunderstorms heading into the afternoon and evening hours. The focus is more to the west and southwest of St. Louis during the early evening hours. So St. Louis should get through the evening rush hour without any fanfare. And the risk of severe weather tomorrow, it's a minimal risk more to the west of St. Louis, we think, but you can't completely rule out a stronger storm with a few wind gusts or maybe a little bit of hail. As we go through the overnight hours tomorrow night, it's pushing away. Anything left on Friday, very much on the isolated side. So Friday is mostly dry. There's going to be some scattered showers. There'll be a few thunderstorms, but even our chance of rain may be a little too high. 81 on Saturday. It's mostly later in the day into the evening, and into Sunday, we'll still have a chance for a shower or thunderstorm around, but much of the weekend is on the dry side, even though there's that potential. So remember, the 5 on Your Side app always has that radar available where you can just pop it on and see what's going on around you. So if you do have that prom event going on this weekend, or maybe a graduation party, or just trying to get together with friends, you can always stay up to date.
Yeah. All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike, the Cardinals may be losing a pitcher, and they definitely lost a game. The Mizzou football Tigers are invading the portal, and we got a high school athlete you have to see to believe.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
Death, taxes, and the Cardinals losing this series finale game. They've had 10 of them and lost 9 of them. And the games have not even been close. They've been outscored by a combined 21 runs in the last game of a series this season. Let's head to Motown. Pitchers have to be perfect because the Cardinals can't score. Well, Miles Michaelis was not. Colt Keith doubles to the gap. Matt Vierling will score, and it's 1-0. Speaking of Vierling, we've been doing stories on him since he was a 16-year-old at CBC with all those scouts watching. Well, he's not a pitcher anymore. He's a hitter. And Michaelis would agree. This is a 2-run shot in the third. Tigers go up 3-0. Can you imagine how good that trip around the bases feels for the CBC grad? Wilson Contreras would later hit the longest homer in Comera Park this season, 433 feet. Tigers win, though, 4-1.
When you look at the games that we've been dropping, we're in every game, just not enough runs across the board. So, man, all we can do is continue to work. These guys are getting after it. It's just not coming together just yet offensively.
Steven Matz will undergo an MRI on his back tomorrow. Matz's velocity was down about 5 miles per hour yesterday in Detroit, and the Tigers tagged him for 4 runs in 3 1/3 innings. For the season, his earned run average is in the 6s. Eli Drinkwitz got 2 more players out of the portal who will likely play big roles for Mizzou this season. He already has 5 4-star recruits committed in the class of 2025, and he told me today that he believes his offensive line, his entire offensive line, will play in the NFL one day. But the best position could be the wide receiver spot. They are loaded. Luther Burden III will likely be a top 10 draft pick. He's that special. Theo Weiss decided to return to Mizzou for another season, and he has warp speed, averaging 14 yards a catch. And he caught 49 balls. What a deep threat. And how about Mookie Cooper, another St. Louis kid who averaged 12 yards a catch. And many of them were really clutch. Throw in Mekhi Miller and Marquise Johnson and a few youngsters, and you are just stacked. And just as importantly, they're unselfish.
The play doesn't care who makes it. Just go out there, do your job, and when you get the ball, do the very best you can for the team. And I think that was something that is not common. And if we can continue to do that, continue down that path, I think we'll have an opportunity to be the very best that we can be this year.
Celtics trying to close out the Heat, and Jason Tatum from Chaminade brought his jumper to work, a little step back from 27 feet. Tatum did not have to do as much tonight because the game was a blowout, but he did have 16 points, 12 boards, and 3 assists. Celtics win the series with a 118-84 victory. Here's a high school athlete you need to know. Edwardsville Malik Allen is already a state champion in the triple jump, and he's going for another state title this season. This multi-sport athlete will compete in college, but his dreams go further than that. In fact, Allen has actually had dreams about becoming an Olympian someday.
I don't know, I went to sleep and I was just on the runway, had like the USA stuff on, running down the runway, and then, you know, we had a hop, skip, and jump, so it was like a bound, and then on like the last one, then I woke up. I'm like, oh shoot. I was just like, man, I guess I gotta get there to know what's gonna happen.
How about that? So just remember this day, maybe 8 years from now, we'll be talking, hey, remember we had this high school kid?
And you'll pull out,
the Olympics,
you'll pull out that video.
Like I did with Vierling.
Right.
It's great to see these young stars. That's the best part of this job, by the way, is to see them when they're young, like 16 or 17, all of a sudden hitting home runs in Major League games or hitting jump shots in NBA playoffs like Jason.
Yep. Thanks, Frank.
Nice. All right, from the ground to your trees, the tool you won't find in the garden center to protect your yard from cicadas.
The Valley of Flowers Festival is a huge event in North County, and it kicks off tomorrow. And if you're headed there for the festivities, you're going to want to know the rules. We've got what you need to know for all the fluorescent fun on the fairgrounds tomorrow on Today in St. Louis at 6 a.m.
You don't have to travel far to visit the best theme park in America. Silver Dollar City in Branson tops USA Today's Reader's Choice Awards for the second straight year, beating out Big names like Disney, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, and Dollywood.
The Cardinals are hoping fans will hit a home run outside the ballpark. The team is hosting its annual Home Run Against Hunger food drive. Before Sunday's game, fans who donate a non-perishable item or money will receive a voucher for 2 tickets to a game this season. Donations can be made Sunday from 10:30 until 1:30 outside the team store at the corner of 8th and Clark.
The cicadas are emerging, and while they can be pets to humans, they can cause damage to your trees, especially ones you just planted in the last couple of years. Female cicadas will start laying eggs on branches cutting into the bark. Arborists suggest wrapping your trees and shrubs now in tulle. That's the same fabric that ballerinas use for tutus.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis, and that starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.